Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to a new video. So this is a 2014 Mercedes-Benz G63 AMG, also known as a G-Wagon. No, this is not mine. I wish it was, but this is my good friend Jeff. If you guys are familiar, I did some reviews of his previous cars that he has and current cars, more specifically his Carrera T, as well as most recently his 991.2 GT3. Currently my F80 is getting some work done, and he lent me the G63 that he recently acquired for the week. So what I want to do in this video is give you a little bit of a walk around, kind of go over the vehicle. Honestly, this was not something that I would have considered for myself in the future, but now that I have one and I've been driving it, I figured I'd make a video and kind of go over my thoughts, because this was not on my bingo card. I never thought in a million years I would ever think of considering a vehicle like this for myself. So if somebody's in a similar situation and is looking at a G63 themselves, maybe I can help you out with my video, going over my pros and cons and everything. So let's start off by doing a little bit of a walk around, going over the modifications and a little bit about the car. So just some quick stats if anybody is curious. 2014 G63 AMG. It is powered by a twin turbo V8. Sounds incredible. Stock exhaust comes out the side and either side. It sounds amazing. I thought it was an aftermarket exhaust, but no, it is indeed stock. It has the black leather interior with the wood grain steering wheel, as well as the trim and everything on here. Pretty darn nice. Inside is nice. I got all three car seats in the back. One is in more of an actual car seat facing forward, kind of a hybrid booster, and then a booster over there. So I can actually fit two of these side by side, but plenty of room for three kids, which is nice. And then in the back, the cargo area has a ton of space. So if you look back here, the whole entire trunk is massive. I mean, if we back up, it is just huge, the amount of space that you get in this thing. But one of the best parts about this entire thing, and one of my favorite things about G-Wagons in general, are the doors. If you guys know what I'm talking about, if you know, you know. It sounds amazing. I can do this all day. Oh, it sounds so good. And closing it, oh, it's like a tank. So good. Also, the automatic door locks, when you start driving, these lock down. It is such a distinguished, like, when it locks. Sounds awesome. Let's go over some of the modifications that have been done to this, because obviously this is not stock. So as you can tell, it is lifted. It's on a 4-inch lift. Also on some aftermarket 18-inch wheels. We got some 35 tires. So it obviously sits quite a bit higher than a normal G-Wagon. Seeing this one next to a stock G-Wagon is pretty insane. This thing is pretty darn high. It's actually taller than my truck, which is crazy because F-150 is a much bigger vehicle. But this is actually taller. Jeff, like me, is a huge lighting nut, so he's got quite a few lighting modifications done by our good buddy Caesar at Lightworks up front. He's a big fan of diode dynamics, so he's got a few SS3 lights on here. He's got the ditch lights up there, and he's also got the floodlights here, so we'll turn them on. He's got them wired up down in the footwell area right here, so if we turn this one on, that is the ditch lights. I'll show you also. I'll turn these on like that. And super bright. It's crazy, these things, how bright they actually are. Oh my god, these down here, insane. Ditch lights up here are yellow. Down here you can actually change the color of those, which is cool. You can change it to pretty much any color you want, but we'll turn the ditch lights off. And then also these are backlit as well, so if we flip that down, now you can actually drive with these around on the street. So up there, they're not the full brightness. Same thing down here as well, they're not the full brightness, so you can drive with that on. You can change the colors of those as well, which is nice. Usually he has them on amber, but I turned them on white. I just kind of like the look. Kind of flows nicely like that. Also, a couple of things that he did as well from the previous owner. He actually brought it back to an OEM plus state. Previous owner had all smoked and blacked out turn signals and taillights. So these were, the orange here was smoked and blacked out, but he turned them back to amber, which I honestly like so much better. Out back here, he had smoked taillights, but he brought back the red LEDs, which look so much better in my opinion. He also has an aftermarket screen in here as well that has CarPlay, wireless CarPlay, which is nice in here. So pretty darn cool, and I really do appreciate Jeff lending me this for the week. And so what I want to do is just kind of go over my thoughts and everything throughout the week, let you guys know what you think, and at the end, let you know if it's something worthwhile and if it's something that I'm ever going to purchase in the future. All right, guys, so I apologize for the lighting right now. It's obviously pretty dark out right now, but I wanted to get my initial thoughts quickly at the beginning of the week. So towards the end of the week, we can kind of come to conclusion about, you know, what I think about this car. But I just wanted to kind of word vomit a little bit on my initial thoughts on this thing. So first and foremost, you sit very, very high in this. Obviously, this has the 4-inch lift, so you feel pretty darn high in the road. And my truck's pretty big. It's on 33s, but overall an F-150 just in general is a much bigger vehicle in terms of length and everything. But you feel really high. The windows, the visibility is insane, so you can see everything. The one thing I do notice immediately is the glare from all the windows. Like everywhere you look, it feels like somebody's next to you, but it's just your reflection. I'm not sure if that's the tint on the windows or if it's just from the certain windows that I don't know what it is. But something I noticed right away. I'm like, oh, there's a car next to me. Like, nope, that's just me sitting there. But the overall driving position is indeed really nice. You feel very demanding. You feel very on top of everything, so you can see perfectly, which is really, really nice. The sound of this thing is pretty darn nuts. It is, as I mentioned, a twin turbo V8 and has that distinct AMG growl, which I personally never was a big fan of. But now that I have been driving, or I am driving one currently, it sounds pretty darn good. I still prefer more of like a, I guess, American V8, if you will, but this does sound pretty good. Something definitely to get used to when you are driving something of this size, especially kind of a compact vehicle like this. When you are driving, and especially on 35s and being so tall, it feels like a boat when you are driving at speed. If you make a small input, the whole thing sways like crazy. Granted, it drives very nice in terms of the comfort, but you definitely feel like you're floating all over the place. And like the small inputs, it's just like, it takes 10 minutes for the whole entire vehicle to kind of catch up with it. But that comes with any lifted vehicle. So if you are driving an F-150 with a 4 or 6-inch lift with 35s or 37s, I mean, it's the same kind of scenario there. And it's funny, I brought home a lot of cool cars over the years, but this one, I came home, my wife went straight to it, was in love with it, and she actually went and took it for a spin. My kids love it as well. So it's pretty funny to see how they just gravitated towards it. My wife, this is kind of like her dream car, a G-Wagon. So it's pretty funny seeing her so interested in it and just wanting to kind of be around it, drive it. It's pretty funny. I will say it is pretty quick when you get on it. But when you're kind of just driving around town, like right now I have it in Eco, I'll put it in Sport, which helps a little bit in terms of the sluggishness. The Sport actually helps it kind of hold gears a little bit longer so it doesn't feel as heavy. But when you're on it, it's super quick, much quicker than I thought. I think 0 to 60 is like 5.2 seconds for something of this weight. Pretty impressive. But if you're kind of just cruising around, you know, it feels kind of sluggish, feels like a kind of like a big tank, if you will. But it feels quality though, like everything's just so tight and put together. That comes along with any, you know, German vehicle, in my opinion, but there's no loose rattles or anything like that. This is a 2014 with 88, almost 89,000 miles on it. So it's pretty impressive how well it's holding up, and crazy to think that a 2014 is old now. Like this looks dated. 2014 to me, it feels like it was yesterday. So pretty crazy. The new ones, the new 2024s and 25s, I guess 26s now, are beautiful. I've never gotten to drive a newer one, but I can only imagine how nice that thing is with all the new tech and everything, the new screens and all that. I know the new Mercedes interiors are pretty darn beautiful. But initial impressions is I'm in love with this thing. I love the arm positioning, especially when you have the windows down. I mean, this is going to age me right now, but it's such a vibe driving this thing, especially on a nice warm day with all the windows down, having your arm out the window. It's pretty sick. I mean, just cruising to the beach or something like that. And I mean, my buddy Jeff obviously has off-road tires and everything. He's taking this thing off-road. This is his off-road vehicle, which is crazy. But it can handle anything. I mean, I was driving in some rain earlier, and it's impressive. I'm really enjoying it so far. So, all right, guys. So I just wanted to show you the insanity with these aftermarket diodynamic lights that are on here. I'm on a super duper dark road, and then when I turn on the floodlights, sorry, I'm reaching down. When I turn the floodlights, watch this. Boom! Oh my God, the amount of light on this road is insane. That the ditch lights aren't even on, just the ones on the grill. Absolutely insane. Then with the brights on, oh my God, it is like daylight. I am so impressed with these. That is with the ditch lights on with the yellows at the top here on the top of the hood. You guys are familiar with those on my F-150. But the floodlights, absolutely insane. Look at that. Boom! Oh my God, sorry. I'm just really impressed with these. This is nuts. I will catch back up with you guys later on in the week and let you know what I think, if anything should change, if there's things that I don't like about it that maybe I didn't even realize at first. But so far, pretty darn good. Enjoying the ride. But I'll catch back up with you guys later in the week and give you my conclusion. All right, guys, so I am nearing the end of my G63 experience. I am returning this to my good friend Jeff that was so kind enough to let me enjoy this for the week while my F80 M3 was getting some work done. Been driving the car all week, doing everything that I would normally do in my truck, in my daily driver, picking up the kids and everything, going to work, all that stuff. And what I wanted to do in this video is give you my conclusion. Let you guys know, is it worth chasing after one of these things? Is this a good daily driver? Is this something that I would be interested in the future? So I came up with a pros and cons list. So that is what I'm gonna do, is just go over them, kind of explain it, and then let you know what I think at the end. All right, so let's go over some of the cons first, go over the things that I didn't like about this vehicle. One, the gas mileage. The gas mileage is pretty terrible. I'm getting around 9 to 10 miles per gallon, and I've been driving in the Eco. Once in a while I'll go in the Sport, but just kind of driving around town, not really going crazy or anything, just normal driving. I'm getting around 9 to 10 miles per gallon. And the tank is about 20 gallons, and it's about $70 to fill up with 93 here in New Jersey currently. So I actually had to stop at the gas station twice this week, which is okay, it is what it is. But thinking about my truck with a much bigger gas tank, I think it's like a 34, 35 gallon tank, and I get roughly about 600 miles the entire tank. I don't know how many miles I get, but it's, you're frequently visiting the gas station. It is a twin turbo V8, so obviously, it's a gas guzzler. So if gas mileage is a concern, a G-Wagon probably isn't the best route to go. My second con is the floatiness of the entire vehicle. So when you are at speed and you are making a turn, changing lanes, what have you, if you do too much input on the steering wheel, it gets a little fishy, I'm not gonna lie. I remember when I was first driving home for the first time, I gave it some gas to change a lane, and I kind of maneuvered a little quickly, and I got a little nervous, to be completely honest. These are kind of known to be top heavy just because of, the shape of them, but being on a 4-inch lift with 35s, it gets a little bit more sketchy. So just have to be aware of that. Obviously it looks awesome, but you do have to be very cautious when you are taking turns or you're changing lanes and whatnot when you're going at speed. My third con of this is the back seat. While it is great to be able to fit 3 kids across with boosters or car seats, it is a little tight in terms of the leg room. So my youngest is behind me, which is in a forward-facing car seat. Her feet are pretty much touching the back seat, and I kind of have to scoot it up a little bit in order for her to fit more comfortably. Now, I could obviously swap these over. If it was my car, I would have done that. I would put it on the passenger side, since my wife would drive on that side, and she's quite a bit smaller than me, so it would leave a little bit more leg room, but definitely not as much leg room as you would think for how big this vehicle is. I know I keep on comparing it to my truck, but so much leg room in terms of, the back seat space for kids or people or adults, whatever. But the reason why I'm comparing it to my F-150 is because this is something that I would replace the F-150 with. This is kind of where my mind is. I would get this as a daily driver to replace the truck. So I am obviously thinking about my kids, people that do driving back, in terms of the leg room, how comfortable they are and whatnot. So yes, it is a little small, to be completely honest. It does fit car seats across, but in terms of the actual leg room, it's a little small. My last con is the infotainment system. Now, I'm pretty sure that the unit he has in here is indeed aftermarket, but even so, the overall system and how things flow is a little confusing. It took me a little bit to figure out how to get CarPlay to play through the speakers and everything. I had to adjust the different auxiliary and stuff. I had to actually message him and be like, yo, how do you get this to work? I couldn't figure it out. And I'm pretty good with technology. I'm not that old yet. But it's a little kind of clunky and everything, kind of hard to navigate. You know, when I think of really easy systems to use, I think of, you know, the Porsche. That's super easy. I got in being unfamiliar with it. I knew where everything was, very easy to navigate. Not too sure how the newer Mercedes-Benz infotainment system is. It probably has gotten better since 2014. But for the one that I'm using currently, I'm not a big fan of it, a little clunky, but it works, it gets the job done, but it's a little hard to navigate. So now let's go over the pros. What do I like about the G63 AMG? First and foremost, you feel pretty awesome driving it. The driving position is fantastic. I love how demanding it feels. You're kind of sitting on top of everything. The visibility in here is insane. I love being able to see everything and anything anywhere I look. There is no blind spots whatsoever. The A-pillar over here is super slim, so there's nothing in the way of it. Really, really nice to be able to just look where you need to and you can see. Another pro is the sound. It's gonna be hard to get, but this thing sounds awesome. Twin turbo V8, 536 horsepower. It gets up and go for how big this thing is. You would think this thing is kind of clunky and slow, but it's pretty quick. I think 0 to 60, I mentioned earlier, is about 5.2. It's in the low fives. So it's pretty quick for what it is. And keep in mind, this is also an 11-year-old car, so they only have gotten faster over the years. So I'm sure the newer one is pretty, you know, much quicker than this. But the sound of this thing is pretty great. V8s are kind of hard to mess up. To be honest, I never was a big fan of AMGs in terms of the sound, but this kind of won me over. And this is a stock exhaust too, so it sounds pretty darn good. Another thing that I love about the G63 is the gauge cluster. The gauge cluster is really nice, really timeless, really classic looking. I love that you still have analog gauges. Granted, this is a 2014, so the newer ones I believe have digital gauges, but the overall analog gauges are very, very nice looking, very classy. Reminds me of kind of like a very classic looking watch. You do have a digital screen in the middle, which is nice, but it doesn't get overpowering or anything. It looks really good. I love analog gauges. Keeps it kind of old school in a way. Yeah, so I really enjoy it. Now, I would love to get into a newer Mercedes, a newer G-Wagon, and see what I think. I know they have a much bigger screen now, but it looks pretty cool and I'm enjoying it, and it's very easy to read. Very easy to kind of figure everything out and see where all the information is. Another thing that I love about the G63 is the cargo space. So the entire trunk area, absolutely massive. I love that the rear door kind of swings out like a normal door as opposed to going up. It just gives you so many options to be able to haul whatever you need to haul. And considering my F-150, the bed of the truck, being able to pretty much put anything that I need to in there, this is actually pretty comparable in terms of the overall height of everything, because the height of the actual cargo area is pretty high. You can fit pretty much anything you need to in here. Obviously, you can't put something that's 10 feet tall in here, but then again, I wouldn't put something 10 feet tall in the bed of my truck as well. So this leaves a lot of options open to be able to put and haul whatever it is that you need to haul in here. Lots of space if you're going on family vacations, taking a trip, what have you. Plenty of room for that. Seats fold down as well. I believe with the seats fold down, it's like 72 cubic feet. I forget what it is with the seats up. I think it's around like 39, 40 or so. I'll put it on the screen for you guys so you can see exactly. But plenty of room for a family of 4 or 5. Be able to fit everybody in the vehicle, as well as all your suitcases and what have you. Grocery shopping is no problem. Plenty of space for all that. My wife absolutely loves this car. This is her dream car. As soon as I brought it home, she went straight to it, checking it out, took it for a little spin, and I can tell right away it's something that she would love to have in the future. So if I were to ever get one, I'm sure she would steal it or want it for herself. So I don't know, maybe we'll end up trading the Telluride for a G-Wagon in the future for her, and she can enjoy this and I can steal from her every once in a while. Last but not least, I love the way this thing looks, especially with the lift and the bigger tires. It is very me. Obviously, going back to my F-150, that is the style that I like. That is the style that I went with my F-150. Big, meaty tires, lifted, and it just looks so cool. And you would never consider a G-Wagon to be kind of an off-road machine or looks like this. You always just see them on the factory wheels, because most people that get these don't really do this. Being car enthusiast and knowing my buddy Jeff, he did it right. It looks amazing, feels amazing, looks amazing, and I'm a really big fan of it. And to be completely honest, I mentioned this earlier, the G-Wagon was not on my bingo card whatsoever because I personally never thought in a million years this would be affordable or something that I can even go after. But after looking at the market on these, some older ones like this, 2014, 15, 16, they're in the 50s, 60s, which honestly is not bad for what you get in this vehicle. It's pretty insane. Brand new ones I think are 150 to 180. That's crazy. I don't think I would spend that much on this. Granted, it is brand new. Something like this in the 50s, 60s with 80,000 miles or so is pretty darn awesome. This thing feels brand new. It's got almost 89,000 miles on it, so it's pretty impressive how well it's holding up after all this time. Crazy to think 2014 was 11 years ago, but it's impressive. It feels good, feels really put together, and who knows, maybe I'll end up with a G-Wagon in the future. All right, guys, that is gonna do it for this one. I really did enjoy my time in the G63. Just want to give a huge shout out to my buddy Jeff for not only lending me the vehicle to experience, but also it gave me a ride to and from the shop. So I can't thank you enough. Pretty much driving all of your vehicles that you have in your stable. I actually get to pick up his GT3 soon. We're going to be ceramic coating it since he just got it all re-PPF, so we're going to have some GT3 content in the near future. Loved my time in this vehicle. My wife loves it. I think I'm in trouble, so we will see what happens in the future. But that is going to do it for this one, guys. If you have any questions at all, be sure to ask them below. But in the meantime, keep it clean, keep it simple, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.